Quickly, before the video starts, I streamed this live over at twitch.tv/ballisticren, where I also play games. I stream weekdays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, so come stop by and say hi. I can't wait to see you over there. Now on with the video. Today we have He Was White, He Deserved It by Shoe0nHead. I've been I haven't done so many political-ish things, mainly because some of the political people I've watched in the past, like Shoe0nHead, don't upload that often. I've done a couple videos by her, but yeah, that like people can get real on edge about politics, especially online where they can hide behind an avatar. So I have been a little skeptical about doing it like this. Let's adjust the volume a little. Okay, for the video that is. So yeah, like I said, this whole video, a little skeptical about that. Anyways, I mean, I like Shoe0nHead. She's more moderate. She's not either. She's not really. She's on the more left side, obviously, but like has some more socialist aligned ideas than conservative capitalist ones. But I mean, dude, she's not some like real left freak or real right freak. Either way, she's honestly she's relatively moderate. So yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I know this is about the whole Carmelo Anthony thing, which yeah, offing someone because you don't like them is not justification. So let's see what she has to say about it. She has said things about certain people's no more existence that I'm like, probably not the best take, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. Like you can believe that if you want.
Wake up, maggot! It's time for your annual race war.
Amen.
Oh, you didn't want to be in a race war?
Yes, sir.
Well,
yes, ma'am.
Bad.
Whatever.
You're in one. Your skin color is your.
I know, and I hate it. Dude, I have, and here's a real confusing thing because I am like multi-race. Like, I've had this joke where it's like, dude, I come from a Native American and European background. Like, listen, my ancestors were both white colonizers and scalping white colonizers. I'm on both sides of the issue, So I mean, what you gonna do about that? Try to make that logic work. I mean, of course, it'll be like, well, you're white because you look white, despite the fact that I'm not completely white, but sure, whatever.
Form soldier. Black people on this side, white people on this side, Italians. We'll figure it out later. Attention! Which one of you lily lickers mix the white Monster Energy with the Kool-Aid pineapples? How many times do I have to tell you? No mixing. Now get suited up, soldier.
No, wow. Chat, I'm out. My gene pool was mixed like 3-4 generations ago. I'm already out of the whole thing.
You're heading into your first battle.
Hey, is it still counted as mixed if you're mostly one race? That's the thing. Like, that's the real doozy. Like, dude, I have first of all, I have some relatives that are very Latino to this day. But like my ancestry consists of minorities. Do I just not like my own relatives because I'm a majority white person rather than or white at all, in fact? Like, I'm not completely white. Like, genetically not completely Caucasian. You look at me, you obviously a white man, but Blarg, I think it's a Middle Eastern, right? Like Lebanese or something like that, or one of those countries. And dude, you think the guy is white. It's like, is he suffering from white privilege because he looks white, Yo, what's up? Like that's the real thing you got to, reconcile with. I'm doing good. Just watching internet drama. Anyways, let's get on to
Comment
it.
section of a Nick Fuentes Instagram reel. Godspeed.
Amen.
Hello, and
This is also another thing with the whole Nick Fuentes thing and, other people, because like it goes back to the you cry wolf a lot when the actual wolf shows up. When the actual wolf shows up. Also, don't ask me personal information. That's going to get you banned or timed out. But when you cry wolf, it's at some point the wolf's going to come through the cracks. Like the mainstream, like I don't think the mainstream conservative movement is all that racist or anti-Semitic or whatever the case is. So when like an actual racist like infiltrates the mainstream, they're going to be, they're going to be like, oh yeah, this person's not racist or anti-Semitic or anything. You're just saying that because you just say that about literally everyone you don't like. You call literally everyone you don't like a German from 1940. Like, and at some point it's gonna be like, people are going to doubt you when you actually bring up a valid like person of interest, if that makes sense, like a person of interest of being one of these others, because they're just going to be like, no, they're not. Why should I believe you, even though you are right in this one instance? You've been wrong 99% of the time, so why should I believe you 1% of the time? Like, it's pattern recognition.
welcome to another episode of I am your host, Shoe0nHead. You may know
Thank
me
you.
as Timu Boxy, or perhaps the woman who
Timu
footmogged
Boxy.
Hassan Piker.
Yeah!
Thank you. And
Bravo.
many of you have come here from that last video, so hello, new friends, and old
Hello.
friends, please say hello to the new friends. Do not scare them away.
All right.
One of the biggest things that happened when I was gone was the conclusion to the Carmelo Anthony trial. Now, for those of you who are unaware, for those of you who have no idea what has been going on, don't worry about it, kid. No, but what happened was last year during a Texas high school track meet, Carmelo Anthony, a 19-year-old student, and Austin met.
Wait, he was 19 at the. Was he 18 at the time or 19? Or like, is it him 19 then or 19 now kind of thing?
Metcalf, a 17-year-old student,
Because,
got into a heated dispute after
yeah.
Carmelo entered Austin's tent, which was like a rivalry school's tent. An argument followed, and then allegedly Carmelo said, "Touch me and see what happens." And so Austin shoved him, and Carmelo pulled a knife out, and Austin then passed away.
Totally proportional response, by the way. Totally proportional response.
In his brother's arms. Court argued that that use of force with a knife was completely unjustified, that a single shove did not.
Yes, because it was. Most violent response, necessary response would have been like maybe a punch, because he was getting physical. But like, that's the thing. You can't, for example, you can't shoot someone and be like, well, self-defense, if their only crime was like just threatening you with no evidence of them following up, especially with lethal force. Like if they were like, oh, I'm going to threaten to punch you and fight you in like a boxing or mixed martial arts style, then you can't just whip out a gun and to resolve the situation, because that is disproportionate force. They are not immediately a lethal threat. So therefore, you can't use lethal force. Now, of course, if they charge at you with a knife and you have a gun, use the gun. That's because both are lethal force and therefore more or less equal under the law. The only difference is melee versus long range versus like ranged. That's the key difference. But at the end of the day, they're both violent and lethal force, and therefore, and gun is just safer to use. Because you prevent the attacker from getting up close to you.
justify a deadly response. During the trial, jurors listened to witnesses' accounts of the events, reviewed video evidence, and after a few days, the jury found Carmelo Anthony guilty and he was sentenced to
Rightfully so.
35 years in prison. And everyone accepted that outcome because they understand how the law works and they respect our justice.
Everyone accepted that outcome. Tweaks. Well, yeah, they probably are tweakers. But freaks on Twitter did not at all have any meltdowns.
System.
Only good cracker is a dead cracker. Only good cracker is a dead cracker.
I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion here.
These kinds of face-to-face, emotion-rising, shouting matches really do no good.
In this video, we are going to discuss.
I mean, I'm not sure. It's kind of cringy to watch. Actually, I don't like watching them because I just don't like cringing. Same reason I don't really like watching political commentators with no common sense, like Hassan.
The insane reactions to the Carmelo Anthony trial, read some tweets, watch some TikToks, as well as debunk a bunch of misinformation because I am just tired of seeing the same ridiculous regurgitated talking points repeated ad nauseum by hundreds and thousands of people just believing it as gospel, hyping themselves up into a race war. No, I am not kidding.
I mean, I feel like Shoe0nHead is also guilty of, falling into the trap of reinforcing her personal beliefs, but because again, the Renee Good one where she was like, oh yeah, she was just an innocent person trying to escape the border patrol or whatever. Well, no, she was, whether or not she intentionally meant to do it, she was ramming a cop with a vehicle which could be deadly, and the cop shot. So it wasn't so much that innocent. I mean, whether or not she meant to do it is irrelevant. If someone is like essentially attacking with deadly force, you have the right to respond with such. And again, I'd like to believe it's just her trying to justify her worldview rather than trying to be malicious about it. But you got to call it out where it is present.
That is how bad it is getting. Growing up, I was always told not to judge people based on their appearance, that it didn't matter what gender you were, what your sexuality was, didn't matter.
Here's the thing. Don't judge a person on their racial appearance. Judge them on the way they present themselves. This goes for regardless of race. Like if you are a white guy with a wife beater and your pants half pulled down, I'm going to assume you're just as much of a thug, probably on some drug, than anyone else. I'm going to call you what you are, white trash. That's because you are giving off that vibe. They're like, anyone dressed respectably, I'm going to assume is a respectable person, regardless of race. That's just how it works.
Short or tall or fat or thin, I was always told that skin color was not important, and it's not. But you know what is important?
Your violence.
Skin's health. So before we get into the video, shout out to today's sponsor, Henson Shaving.
I skip the ads because I don't think there's any really constructive thing I could add on to it, and B, I'm trying to think of a good second reason, other than I just don't generally watch ads in my off time. But also, I just skip to the end and say go check them out if you want. Yeah, she's got her ad hairstyle still, so I'm just great indicator of when I know. Yeah, just go check out the link if you want. But yeah, I have seen comments being like, why are you watching the ads? Like, you don't add anything to it, so you don't need to talk over it. So I just skip it. I did that once or twice. Got YouTube highlight comments saying why are you doing this? There's literally nothing you add to it, blah blah blah, whatever. Which is fair enough criticism, I guess. So Yeah, I just have a tendency to skip them because of that.
So let's not waste any more time and get straight into this, shall we? They found him guilty so fast right before Juneteenth. These folks playing in our faces.
Okay, and if they found him guilty on Christmas Day, it wouldn't be a difference. Like, the fact is, he was criminally convicted in a timely manner. Like, that's the whole point. You have the right to a fast and speedy trial. Of course, it's not to be unreasonably fast and speedy. But obviously the point is that you have a right to an efficient trial. You know, you have a right to a trial that is sufficiently timely without being rushed. You know, you don't get delayed. You don't get caught up in delay after delay.
Carmelo's only crime was not allowing himself to get beat down by a white man. Carmelo will get a
Getting beaten up is let's say hypothetically, Austin Metcalf or something like that was going to beat him up, was going to be the most racist POS ever. That so long as there was no imminent lethal force involved, it would still be criminal.
out of prison. That boy ain't getting out of the grave. If he kept his hands to himself, he'd still be enjoying his white privilege today. White people are not victims of racism. You can't be a victim of a system you created.
Yes, you can, but sure, racism isn't conditional, unless you're Asian, I guess, because of course Asians benefit from, you know, the quote-unquote white privilege of getting into college at probably even a better clip than white people, because a lot of Asians prioritize, you know, things that, you know, help with that, like studying and the like. But yeah, again, but at the same time, they're victims of white privilege too, because, or, you know, white privilege racism too, because they have suffered systemic violence by some people that is blamed on white people, even if they aren't. Okay.
Hey, 23-year-old white guy who can't find a job and still lives with your parents. Did you know you created
Thank you.
the entire system we're in right now, and therefore it's totally acceptable to hate?
Yes, I, the hypothetical 23-year-old white guy living with his parents and with no job, am the creator of a system created hundreds of years ago and frankly dismantled like 60 years ago, both of which I was not present for, both of which both my parents were never born for. And also, I'm not even completely fucking white and have very brown family members that Trump would probably not hesitate to deport.
You and be racist towards you. This is the same stupid shit they say to men, like, oh, you created the patriarchy. Like, who the fuck are you talking about? Joe Schmo working at Chipotle didn't create—
Joe Schmo working at Chipotle doesn't even practice the patriarchy, much less created it.
The system isn't benefiting white people at all. It's not benefiting anyone except the rich and powerful. The racism equals—
Yeah, and guess what? Both any race can be rich and powerful. Obama is rich and powerful, and he's black. So, well, I think, well, half black, I think. But point is, he at a glimpse looks completely black, and he has the privilege of rich. That's the thing. It's not white privilege. It's rich privilege, and anyone can be rich.
Prejudice plus power bullshit really one-shot these people, huh? Only a black
Yeah.
child can be minding their business, get ambushed, bullied, and pushed—
Ah, yes, a black 18 or 19-year-old child. What is up with the infantilization of young adults? Like, if a 25-year-old consenting adult decides to hook up or, well, be in a relationship with, like, a significantly older adult, it's all of a sudden taking advantage of an age gap. When it's like, these are both adults who are, at least ideally, should be making their own decisions. Now, of course, some adults still have the mindset of a child, so maybe that's what they're getting at, because they see their like childlike mindset and then project it onto other adults. But that's beyond the point. Ideally, if you're a healthy, mentally functioning adult, you can consent regardless of age gap. That should not be a problem.
around and become the aggressor for protecting himself. But he was quite literally not
He wasn't simply protecting himself. He was murdering someone who wasn't even attempting murder on him.
minding his own business. He was in a rival's team tent and was asked to leave like a dozen times. Witnesses say he started escalating it into a fight and then stabbed someone in the fucking heart. That's not minding your business. Why did they hire that horrible lawyer? Had to be the worst defense in history. Absolutely no reason Carmelo shouldn't have testified. We gotta do better with who we hire to represent us. Plenty of black lawyers in Texas. His family...
Oh yes, because race equals good or bad depending on the race, right? Which sounds kind of racist to me, not gonna lie, because yeah, applying non-intrinsic things, like aspects to intrinsic aspects and making those connections, I think that's kind of racist.
He's like $1 million on GoFundMe.
Use 500,000 in his offense to purchase. Yeah, nice to know that the rest of his family gets to live the life.
And then blew it all on a new house and a fucking Cadillac. So then they had to get a public defender. That...
Keep in mind, yeah, that's another thing. Keep in mind, a car has diminishing returns. So, great job wisely spending. You blew all that money on a car that has diminishing returns and renting land rather than buying land to sell at a higher value later. These are real intelligent investors.
Baby was sentenced to 35 years?
That 19-year-old baby, that murderer, was sentenced to 35 years. Yeah. Community notes, I love it. It would be even more hilarious if this was like a black community noter that wrote this up. But yeah, that adult murderer was sentenced to 35 years.
I love the community note. That murderer was sentenced to 35 years. Black people, please carry more than a pocket knife. Get their asses before they can get you.
This is the only thing. Of course, the motivation is abysmal, but like, yes, carry self-defense items with you, just in general, regardless of race. Because guess what? The cops don't care about you. And guess what? If you're going to call me a leftist socialist for that take, because I have nuanced opinions where I'm like, the government is literally like, the cops are government goons that we just have to deal with. Like, I'm not like, abolish the police and all that. It's like, I'm just recognize cops for what they are. But they're paid government employees. And yeah, I don't trust the government. So, and a corrupt mayor or commissioner or whatever can go tell the cops to arrest the innocent and ignore the Constitution if they want, and they'll probably get away with it, at least for a time.
What the hell do you mean get their asses before they can get you? That's literally what Carmelo did. He got Austin's ass. He killed him. Why the fuck are they acting like Carmelo was the one who died? 35 years on your first offense is over sentencing. Yeah.
Or taking another's life for not allowing the person to renew his subscription to life. 35 years is over sentencing. Like, honestly, this is probably a light sentencing, all things considered. Someone was not able to go home that day, and this guy got away with 35 years. Jesus
God, there
Christ.
has to be a retrial. This is blatant injustice. First offense. And the offense in question.
Yeah, assuming it was the first charged offense. The offense was literally taking another's life. And you're going to be like, well, 35 years seems a little extreme. Maybe just like an hour of community service for the offense. It's like, what do you mean? This was a violent offense. Unless it was for self-defense or something, like maybe an unreasonable use of self-defense, then sure, maybe. But this was a very much like malicious attack. This wasn't just someone who misjudged the situation and accidentally took another's life in self-defense without realizing he went over the edge. Which in that case, okay, maybe something like community service or, a year in jail or something like that. Because again, this would have been a mistaken judgment rather than a premeditated attack.
Question is murder. Your Honor, it was only his first murder. 35 years ago, killing a Nazi got you a Purple Heart, but now that a German American is
35 years ago? I think this dude's math is a little off. I don't think World War II was only 35 years ago. I think you need to add another 35 years to that, my man.
president, it gets you a life sentence. All white people deserve no mercy. Now Austin Metcalf, a 17-year-old, is a Nazi because he was white. Also, 35 years ago. Does this dude think World War II was in 1991?
Is this dude confusing the Gulf War with World War II? Because the Gulf War had no 40s era Germans in it.
Black Americans, arm yourselves. This country is a
Yes, black Americans, arm yourselves. White Americans, arm yourselves. Every American, arm yourself. I agree with that. But no, in all seriousness, yes, I do like the Second Amendment because I don't like being a puppet of the government. Like, I prefer that the government stay out of my affairs, and being able to defend myself without having to rely on a cop taking 30 minutes to get there and then shooting me because he is too incompetent to recognize who the actual aggravator is. I prefer that not to happen. I'd rather just off the bad guy and be done with it myself. Like, that's the whole reason we have the right. But yeah.
officially a terrorist state of white supremacists. You have no reason to abide by or follow any more laws in this country. Law enforcement and these politicians are all terrorists. Let it all.
I mean, the last sentence is kind of true. Going to comparing them to people like Mr. Bin Laden is maybe going a little far, but the general sentiment is still true.
Fall. Time for judgment. Just as I said.
As you can see, I am not some hardline rightoid moron. I am a complex individual with left-wing beliefs and right-wing beliefs. I am not something you can put in a box. I am more right than Shoe0nHead, but I am still more left than Ben Shapiro. It's a phenomenal aspect called nuance. Realizing that the government does not have your best interests in mind, but also realizing that giving people I don't care about money is also impractical.
Schizophrenia. I recommend logging the f off. Do these people?
The biggest mistake Reagan ever made, and it's a big mistake, it's a very big mistake, was shutting down the asylums. Because now you have to deal with the crazies in the real world. Back before Reagan, you just called the cops, and you know what a social worker was back in the 50s? A guy with a white van and a medical suit on that took the loons off the street to put them in sanitariums. That was social work back in the 50s, and I think we need that back.
People just live in a completely different reality. A guy gets put in prison for murder, and they're like, wow, what's the point of even following the law anymore? Having a black son gotta be the tops of fears. I'm going insane.
Dude, listen, I feel so in fear of my own family's lives. I mean, I've got a lot of brown family members, and I just can't imagine the idea of any of my relatives shooting someone and then being put in jail for it, despite the fact that they are brown. It's like, dude. Like, I have minority heritage. I have family members that are more of a minority than myself. A lot more. because again, my minority status can be like revoked because I look white. But I have family members that are more of a minority, and if they commit a crime, I'm like, yeah, they should go to jail. They should be rehabilitated. All that. I wouldn't expect if one of my family members did some drug crime or something that they just be let out because they're brown. Like, I'm not going to discuss which family members that is and all that because that's private information. But it's like, I do have heritage like that. Some family members with more of the heritage than me, and very visibly more of the heritage than me. And yeah, I'd expect that any of my family members, if they committed a crime, to go to jail for them committing a crime rather than the simple fact of them being brown.
It was the white son that was murdered. Why are they acting like the black son was murdered? Why are you scared of having a black son in this context? Oh, I'm so scared my son will stab someone and go to jail one day. Like, what?
Okay, that's
when a
yeah.
black kid dies.
If the roles were reversed, Austin Metcalf, I think that's one, would be the one going to jail right now, because you can't off someone for simply pushing you. That's not reasonable retaliation.
Literally multiple witnesses, including black witnesses, including Carmelo's own friends, said that Carmelo was the aggressor in the situation.
And guess what? The jury saw you are the aggressor, you are the guilty party.
Also, just in general, murder is not the acceptable punishment for a shove, for a push.
Exactly.
That's not how it works. 50,000 likes on that bullshit, by the way. 50,000
Well, it's in Twitter, so what do you expect?
people saw that and were like, hell yeah. Black kids are the only kids who can't afford to make mistakes without dire consequences. Your Honor, it was a mistake. My client did a little oopsie poops.
He accidentally went to his bag, grabbed his knife, and stabbed another person. It was completely
A
accidental.
little fucky wucky ooh woo, if you will. Black people are held to a higher standard than every other race.
No, in fact, because of like the whole like white savior complex, which is also racist, they are held to a lesser standard. Like Carmelo, there is a world where Carmelo Anthony could have had his terrible defense and proceeded to get away with it, because a lot of the times black people or minorities in general are held to a lower standard. Like the bar is set low for them. And I'm part minority, so I should say us, right?
They're expected to be perfect, while others are given grace, excuses, and hey, stop.
Ah, yes, we're expected to be so perfect that we can't even get away with murder nowadays.
Just a reminder that this is all in context of the Carmelo Anthony situation. So the held to a higher standard in this case,
This kid did not make a mistake.
the higher
Jesus
standard
Christ.
of do not stab people. I'm sorry, okay.
Okay,
A
yeah.
mistake by a black person gets used to judge an entire community. Oops, I fell and my knife accidentally stabbed
Oops, I fell and I accidentally pulled a knife out of a bag and offed someone with it.
your heart.
Austin fell onto Carmelo's knife trying to attack him because the knife is 3.5 inches. The cut was only 2.
I'm crashing out. I'm crashing the f out. Please let the next
Wait, the intonation in the last section of that clip, I'm confused. It's because that intonation kind of led him to, it kind of sounded questioning, you know what I mean? Like not enough to where I could like confidently argue that he was like questioning the logic of the excuse, but it sounded enough to where I could question what he meant.
one.
Let me double check that.
To attack him because the knife is 3.5 inches.
Like he's like, the knife is 3.5 inches. Like it kind of sounds questioning at the end, where I'm like, could he? I mean, I don't know this podcast or the people in question, but like, the way the ending kind of has like a kind of questioning intonation to it. It's like, is he questioning the excuse?
The cut was only 2.
I'm crashing out. I'm crashing the f out. Please let the next one be somewhat rational. Y'all gentlemen are so fucking dumb. Y'all really thought that he was gonna get away with stabbing that kid to death. I can tell a lot of you were raised by hoes. Finally, a normal, sane person. A strong black.
Yes. It sounds sane in the beginning. I love it when it sounds sane in the beginning, but then goes off the rails at the end. It kind of sets you up and rips that hope for humanity away.
Father tells you early that you can't get away with the same shit whites do. Oh god damn it! Had me in the first half.
Had me in the first half, yeah. Like if it ended with the rational thing, I'd be like, bravo, a rational person on Twitter. But no, it had to end with something crazy.
What is this? Where do these people live?
I saw the beginning of the rest, and I'm like, this is how you know it's about to go off the rails.
Earth 2! Culture. When you get called for jury duty, do that shit. Make sure you do your part in serving justice. Every black defendant in every court everywhere is Carmelo Anthony. Every black defendant in every court everywhere is Carmelo Anthony. Every black
Wait. Did they spell Carmelo Anthony's name wrong? Isn't it with a K? Which is honestly me not being fucking racist. It's called the English language. Why we have 2, actually kind of 3 letters that make the same fucking sound is beyond me, but leading to confusion, but sure.
Every black defendant in every court case everywhere is a murderer? Are you sure that's what you want to go?
O.J. Simpson got off, and there was more evidence for him being... Jesus.
With. I love how he's basically like, go do jury duty so you can go blindly support any black person regardless of what they did.
Also, if you show bias as a juror, you're going to get removed. If you don't get caught in the screening process, you're going to get removed during the trial, and they'll have to, and it will just extend the trial, and because we'll have to repeat things and all that for the new jurors that are replacing you. So yeah, don't get politically motivated as a juror, preferably.
What the like, I don't support every white person. Some of you are dumb. What's wild is this wasn't even like a cop kills black guy thing where like there might be some debate about like police brutality and over policing and things like that. No,
right.
This was just straight up a black kid stabbed a white kid, and they're losing their minds because he's going to prison over it. Fascinating.
Carmelo Anthony had been white. Not only would he have not been convicted, there'd never been
yes, the white guilters. I love the white guilters.
charges. The only reason Carmelo Anthony was convicted was because we are a broken, fucking bigoted country.
Honestly, this guy does not look like the kind of guy who would be a white guilter, though. It's honestly shocking.
And Carmelo Anthony was black.
Wow, thanks for the input, gay Colonel Sanders.
Gay Colonel
Yellowstone Hicklib bit. Oh
yeah, like, dude. Like, are they just genuinely LARPing? Like, this is like some kind of urban, like leftist who grew up in LA and then moved to the country and then put on the whole like, redneck cowboy stereotypical clothes to like LARP as some southern guy after moving to like the suburbs in Northern California, not even a southern state technically. I mean, I know it's a southern state, but not like when you think of South. California is not a southern state in that sense. Like this guy just a suburbanite in like Northern California being like, yeah, I'm totally a southern rancher guy who has so much empathy, white guilting for minority criminals.
tough country cowboy. Y'all better not say I'm slurs around here. Yeehaw! Wow. Just freaking wow. Disgusting.
Yeah,
This is
Cardi
not
B.
justice. This is trying to make an example. Dear white people.
Yes, trying to make an example out of one murderer, or out of one the leader, so that people in the future don't do the same by committing a crime. That's the example.
Don't let this verdict fool you. You'll still get fucked up playing the Austin games. Don't let this verdict of a guy who stabbed someone fool you. You're still gonna get stabbed.
Well, I mean, I'm not, like I said earlier in the stream for new chat, for anyone new watching, I'm not completely white, so where do I fall under this range? Like, I have mixed heritage, so where do I fall under this range?
What? Strong suspicion that a lot of pro Carmelo stuff I see here is some psyop. Bro, this is what I tried to tell myself for like
Wait, hold on.
a lot of pro
Yeah, pro Carmelo. I had to make sure she wasn't trying to be like, what the f you talking
Carmelo stuff
about?
I see here is some
I had to make
psyop.
sure.
Bro, this is what I tried to tell myself for like 6 years about the online left. It's all a CIA psyop from
Right.
the billionaires to make leftism look as unappealing as possible to the working class. Bro,
I feel like the billionaires are the ones that, by and large, support the leftist stuff.
of course an all-white jury found a black boy guilty for defending himself. Fuck you racist white pieces of shit.
I'd like to see the jury makeup of this.
Fuck you racist white pieces of shit. That sounds extremely racist. Black people can't be racist, stupid hoe.
Right, because racism, when it's a minority doing it, is not actual racism.
It was not an all-white jury. There were Asian people, there were Hispanic people, and the black people.
It's also, what was this, Houston, Austin, something like that, right? It was also a big urban city. It wasn't some fucking bumfuck Nebraska. Like, this was a major metropolitan area. Of course you're going to get people of different ethnic and racial backgrounds on a called in for jury duty, much less actually and even make the final cut for jury duty, because to my understanding, I've never actually had to serve like jury duty. Like, the most I've got is a mail that said, oh yeah, you might have to like attend some call-ins. Like, that's the most I've ever had to do, was a call-in jury thing for like a week instead of going down to the court for that week. But I imagine that when you're called in because the jury is what, like 12 people. So I imagine there's like some pool of 24, let's say, people. They all get screened, and 12 of the most capable are pulled out of that pool.
Well, they did ask to do jury duty in this case, turned it down because they admitted they would be too biased. Like, they literally said they would just vote not guilty because Carmelo is black. On one
All right.
hand, I appreciate the honesty.
Wait, hold on. Let me just back that up to make sure.
They admitted they were black people. It was not an all-white jury.
Right.
There were Asian people, there were Hispanic people, and the black people, they did ask to do jury duty in this case, turned it down because they admitted they would be too biased. Like, they literally said they would just vote not guilty.
Because the culture is that it's an us versus them thing. And as long as we can get the upper hand against them, we'll do it. I think, wasn't this the whole thing with the O.J. Simpson verdict? Like, the jury was convinced he did it, but because of the, the events that led up to the LA riots, they were like, this is payback. Like, we know he did it, but this is payback for those events, which I don't know how they eventually got through that. I think they just filtered through so many jurors that are just like, you're our final hope. And they just did it. I'd say the courts are probably corrupt, but also, again, this goes back to the rich versus poor argument, where the rich, it's not a racial inequity, it's a wealth inequity. The rich get away with things, the poor don't. And rich people do include black people, like O.J. Simpson.
Because Carmelo is black. On one hand, I appreciate the honesty. On the other hand, what the f***?
If they say, can you be fair? Don't say, no, I'm not finna put a black man in jail. Don't say that. Don't
admit to your bias. Like, now, of course, your bias may get caught, but at some point, because I'm sure the screening process and the like are stringent, and I'm sure, like, security, like, even if you do somehow play your way into being a juror, you're going to get caught at some point, but sure.
I hate white people, and I don't care what he did. Don't do that. That's what people were doing in this case. Okay. And then everybody's like in an uproar because there's no black people on the jury when damn near half of the black people who could have been on the jury canceled themselves out. You know? Don't do that. Y'all be regular.
Overruled.
Just be regular.
Oh, God.
That's right. Get in there and lie to the court so you can free a person because he.
Which, if that gets discovered even years later, I'm sure there'd be some sort of like, because obviously, like, you can't retry someone once they've already been found guilty or not guilty, unless there's some really convincing evidence. I believe. I think there's that exception. But like, I'm also pretty sure that a juror lying to the court would also, you know, constitute a retrial.
A white guy. Incredible stuff. Also, I like how they said, just be regular. Just be regular. Just get on the jury so you can.
I like it. Yeah, it's like, dude, just be a normal, moral human being until it stops. Until it stops benefiting you in this scenario.
Free the murderer, then return to acting irregular. This case is really affecting me, making me want to go to law school and fight for my people. I'm sorry.
You'd fail the bar.
I'm confused. Your people being murderers? Is that what you're talking about? Murderers? Your people being murderers? Also, if by some miracle you happen to get into law school, you'll be disappointed to find out that intentionally stabbing someone and killing them is in fact murder.
Yeah, unless you somehow manage to play the bar, you'd probably fail at that if you even manage to complete enough law school to get to the bar. Again, not a lawyer, so I don't know the specifics, but yeah, I'd hope the bar exam would catch those kinds of prejudices very easily, even for people who are trying to play this game.
Regardless of what your skin color is. And there were some people coming at me like, oh, I bet you'll defend Chud the Builder. And like, first of all,
What?
Who the f is Chud the Builder? This is how I know I'm getting old. They keep
After shooting out.
making these random fucking streamers in a vat overnight and then like releasing them. Did you hear about PP Boy 57? Like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I don't know who that is. If Chud the Builder killed someone, or in this case, attempted to.
Yeah, if you commit a crime, you are a criminal who deserves to be locked away. That's just how it is, regardless of race.
Kill someone, then he should face consequences for that. Yes. Okay, your turn. Should Carmelo Anthony face consequences? No? Oh, that's weird. Looks like only one of us is the hypocrite here. See, I am not like you. I have a functioning brain and an IQ of probably maybe over 100. I can look
Maybe even 100. I don't know. Like I feel like I tell myself it's 100 or more. I actually tell myself it's 150 just to feel good about myself. But it's more like, you know, I'm getting more like inbred intelligence vibes. But no, I'm kidding. That's a joke.
On a case-by-case basis, and not blindly support or attack something like a mindless drone. Let's go see what they're saying over on Blue Sky, shall we? Fellow white people. Never mind.
Yes. Again, white guilt, white savior, all that, those complexes.
Never mind. I'm done again. Bye.
That, yeah, like, why even bother when Twitter's already that bad? You know, Blue Sky's going to be way worse.
Stay out of black people's mentions about Carmelo Anthony. We are the reason not one black juror was seated.
It's not the fact that the black people admitted that they are not qualified, like self-reported that they're not qualified to be jurors.
The reason that an appeal filed on those grounds will surely fail. We are the reason Jim Crow is once again law of the land. Oh my god! What has this country come to?
Yes, because the Civil Rights Act, which is honestly kind of redundant since the Bill of Rights already says all men are created equal, thus making, honestly, in my opinion, the Civil Rights Act kind of redundant in specifying that all men in fact means all men. But yeah, that thing that completely eliminated Jim Crow laws from existing and being constitutionally upheld in any way, shape, or form with any dumb argument that some racist judge finds acceptable. Yeah, that just never happened. We still are living in Jim Crow times.
When a man can't freely murder another man in cold.
Dude, and that's the thing. Like, My great grandparents, one of which was a Native American and one of which was white, both of which probably got threats by white supremacists back in the 50s or whatever, when they, the 40s and 50s, back when they were married, happy life, children, having their children, and their white neighbors probably call, like, racist white neighbors calling my white great grandfather a race traitor for marrying a Native American woman, and my Native American great grandmother having to grow up or listen to how she was just, probably listening to how she was using my great grandfather or something like that. It's so infuriating. It's like, dude, my family probably experienced a million times more racism than than some of these morons. And it's just like, dude, I mean, I don't think, I'm not even sure if they would have brought it up when they were alive, but I'm sure they probably experienced that on a more or less regular basis, because again, this was a mixed race couple before mixed race couples were an acceptable thing. And it probably amplified the racism towards towards my ancestors.
Cold blood and get away with it. Literally Jim Crow. Yeah, white people cannot be trusted after this trial with Carmelo Anthony. Honestly, that 35-year sentence coming down on the teenager Carmelo Anthony felt like a
teenager. An adult teenager. That's the thing. Teenager is kind of like, can be kind of like double meaning, because it could mean a legal child, or it could mean a legal adult. 18 to 19-year-olds are not children. They are adults. And they are tried as such.
For a lynching. Carmelo Anthony defended himself against two white supremacists. Now that black people stand up for themselves, white fragility is taking over. They simply can't handle it.
Profile pic, by the way.
He saved himself from being lynched, and now he has to spend decades in prison. F***ing racist country.
What? Who tried to lynch this guy? I don't think I've heard any genuine discussion about him being lynched. And again, lynching is bad. Lynching is taking the legal process and putting it into your own hands. It doesn't matter if the guy is guilty or not. Lynching is wrong. However, I don't think I've heard any arguments about him being threatened like that, at least not to a significant enough extent.
Huh? He was being lynched? Yes. Do these people live in the Netflix?
What? Again, my ancestors probably received a lot more lynching threats than this kid ever did.
Netflix adaptation version of reality or something? What is going on? Stabby, jail. No stabby, no jail. The only reason
that's the reason
was convicted is because he was black. If this was a white boy, there would never be charges files.
First, learn grammar, moron. But also, yes, there would have been, because criminal activity is criminal.
That the people who was involved with this case will begin to reap the unjust decision upon their own head to 1,000 generation. All you bigoted racist people. And all.
Keep in mind, this is probably a person with a college degree. Because honestly, college degrees don't indicate intelligence. They indicate education, which are two separate things. Because you can educate someone with a below average IQ, but someone with a genuinely high IQ is someone who can actually think critically about what they are being taught.
All-white jury. Of course Carmelo Anthony would be convicted. Not an all-white jury. Yes, an all-white jury. Stop trying to make excuses for racism.
Also, this is another thing. Like, they act like things like racism and the such are binary. They act like, oh, a Latino or an Asian can't be racist towards a black person. It's like, even if they admitted, because it's like, if you admit to it, like a multiracial jury can still be racist if they're made up of not the race that's being tried. You know, because again, there are multiple races in the world. It's not just whites and then people of color. It's, you know, it's white, it's Asian, it's black, it's, you know, Native American. Maybe I don't know if like Pacific Islanders and such would be like genetically distinct enough to be considered their own race, or like some offshoot, because like that's the thing, like, you know, the Middle East is part of Asia. They're technically Western Asians, even though a Middle Eastern guy doesn't really look all that much like an East Asian guy. They're still Asian. Like their ethnic makeup evolved in Asia, making them Asian. Like an Indian is still Asian because he's in the Asian continent. You know, so. And it's like semantics, I guess. I don't know, but it's like, yeah. So it's like, is this like some kind of? This is like the whole us versus them mentality, right? Because it's like an Asian or a Latino can be racist towards a white person, towards a black person, and that Asian can be racist towards a Latino, and vice versa. Like, it's not like a duality like that. In like, as much as you want to like cognitively disassociate with the reality of the situation and believe there's like this binary of whites versus non-whites, that's not how it works in real life. There's not that binary. That binary doesn't exist in real life.
No, not an all-white jury. Who are they trying to convince? Other people or themselves?
Dude, also, like, when I've been filing out things, I've seen like white and then non-white Hispanic, and it's like, is like can you just be like, are you Hispanic or not? Like, what do you mean non-white Hispanic and all that? It's like, Jesus.
Anyone defending Carmelo Anthony knows that they're not defending him in good faith. Carmelo is obviously guilty of a murder that he intentionally instigated. Defending murders like this only hurts the black community. We need to hold ourselves accountable and hold ourselves to a higher standard.
Where's the double standard in this?
Oh my god, a normal person on Blue Sky. Bro, what are you doing? Get out of there. Go, run. An all-white jury in Texas.
Oh, there was no double standard. That guy was just a rational human being on Blue Sky. Okay, I'm impressed.
Has convicted Carmelo Anthony of murder. Proof that the US never ended the practice of lynching. They let the courts do it instead. You don't have to support what Carmelo Anthony did to recognize.
I go back to my previous statements about my multiracial and ethnic racial background and the fact that, you know, I guarantee you at one point my minority relatives, my Jim Crow era minority relatives, were probably victims of things like this. And the fact that you are trying to do this in such a way, and again, white savior here, talking about all white juries, but the fact that you're trying to equate modern day justice, like genuine justice, with the injustice that was faced 70, 80 years ago is an insult to the people who actually suffered injustice.
The problem with sentencing a child to spend 35 years in prison.
A child, a 19-year-old child, guys. It's a 19-year-old child. He has no adult autonomy.
Based off of the deliberate.
Again, what is with the infantilization of young adults? Like, they are not children. They have autonomy over themselves. And of course, they'll only call these people children when it benefits. They're adults when it comes to, you know, sexual depravity, and they can make up their own minds and yada yada. But when it's facing the consequences of your own actions, you're just a child. You don't have to face consequences.
Of an all-white jury. Said it again, award.
Said it again.
All-white jury. All-white jury. boys.
Yeah.
Time to play Horseshoe Theory. Contestant number 1. Here is the tweet. Stop sending your kids to these race schools.
Oh, stop.
This is another thing. Horseshoe theory, politics, where politics aren't a line of left versus right, blue versus red, liberal versus conservative. It all, at some point, it gets so extreme it just wraps back around. Like, you know, like a far rightoid will see a woman doing like masculine things and claim that it's just a guy in drag, and a leftist will claim it's she's just a trans man and she's actually a he because a woman cannot. And that's the thing, like it's like, oh, we want to break gender stereotypes, but when a male acts feminine or a female acts masculine, they're now transgender. And it's like, you're really breaking the gender stereotypes with that one. It's all literal. It's just it's what it is them saying things to placate to the rational side, because like, again, I like tomboys. You know, honestly, a tomboyish girlfriend would actually be pretty nice. But but it's like, yeah, because I'm cool with tomboys and all that, but I'm not going to be like, but then you're like, they use it as like an introduction to get me to be convinced that, oh, the masculine woman is actually transbanded. It's actually he, him, you know? And it's like, and then like I said, on the opposite side, you have the rightoid being like, that's just a man who dresses like a woman. Meanwhile, everyone in the middle is sitting here like, nah, that's just a tomboy, my man. It's not that deep.
Sending your kids to these black schools, definitely a white supremacist.
Oh, I'm sorry. The tweet is, stop sending your kids to these white schools. And it came from the account Dapper Domo, who is black. You know what that means? That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's hear it.
Into the pit. Stop bringing non-black people into black spaces. Teach your kids to defend themselves by any means possible. Keep your black kids in black spaces as much as possible.
Sounds like racial segregation.
Your black children away.
I think we already made our you know, understanding with racial segregation as not very cool
from these devils.
If we had segregation still, none of this would have happened. He wouldn't have had no interaction.
we're going full circle with these people. It's back to and that's the thing, segregation. The leftists want segregation, and the rightoids want segregation. It's horseshoe theory.
With any white boy, because we would have been in an all-black school.
We are going to reverse engineer segregation, aren't we? But wokely. We don't want those evil white people drinking out of the same water fountain as us, am I right? Honestly, my honest, real opinion about this hot
it's
take.
Just the opposite side of the spectrum. It really is. Politics is just a spectrum. It's not left versus right. It's not, you know, right opinion versus wrong opinion. It's just a spectrum, because at the end of the day, two radically different ideologies will come to the same conclusion with different justification. That's how we end up in this horseshoe circle, whatever you want to call it, of politics, because it's just people come to the same conclusion but need to find different ways to justify said conclusion. And in both cases, the conclusion is wrong. It's horrendously you know, overbearing, but it's different logic, I guess. So, you know,
of the video, everybody, here comes lukewarm microwaved 4-day-old mac and cheese take. Here it comes. If they want to go make their own like all black schools, all black towns,
if they want to do that privately, I don't even think they could do that, because it would be segregating. Which, I mean, I agree with the logic that you are to run your own business how you want to run it, but at the same time, the Civil Rights Act prevents you from doing that. And like I said, I'm not a racist, right? If you are some racist a-hole who who doesn't want to let black people into your business, that's honestly, in my opinion, that's your business. And the people who don't support that ideology will not support your business. And assuming you aren't in a racist freaking city, you'll go bankrupt because of it, and rightfully so. And I don't think it's my place to force you to compromise your values. That being said, you also have to deal with the reality that most people aren't fucking racists.
They should be allowed to. Go for it. Black people want to go create Wakanda? They should be able to.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everyone should be able to do something. But when the white person does it, don't be surprised when the white person starts doing it and starts acting racist too. Because you're setting up that precedent.
Too. But white people should be allowed to create Agartha. If people want to willingly segregate themselves, they should be allowed to go ahead and do that. Dead ass. Who cares? Everyone else can live in a desegregated society. They can go have their ethnic.
Yeah, like these radical radicals, whatever, can go do their thing. But as for me, I'm not this ethno-radical. So I'm just going to live in an integrated society like a normal person, where I can see everyone as an equal, as a human being. But all these ethno-radicals can go off to their own ethno-cities like they want to, and leave us alone, please. And also make sure these ethno-cities cannot vote. They are racists. They're ethnically segregated. They don't actually understand normal human morals and values of everyone is a human, everyone has human rights. Please prevent them. Please don't put up a post office for them where they're allowed to vote. Please isolate these ethno states, cities, etc. as much as possible. That would be great.
But there's only one side that will not be able to do that. I
Right.
always wondered though, let's say they do make a white ethno state. What counts as white? Because 100 years ago, I would not have counted as white. I'm Ellis Island mystery meat. You know this. Is there like a one drop rule? Do they like whip out the eye chart?
Like, dude, am I considered white? Am I considered Native American? Do they got to whip out the, oh yeah, you're not 25% Native American, therefore you can't claim Native American? Like, what's the deal? Because I don't think I qualify as 25%, and I think that's like the rule of the land with that kind of thing. Like, do I get my tribe or not? Because I'm not completely native, but I'm also not completely not.
At the gate, and they're like, ah yes, A10s. You may enter. Is Brittany Venti allowed in the white ethno state? Honestly, she's like an honorary Aryan at this point. She white mogs me. Anyway, we are getting distracted. Where were we? Ah yes. Hell.
Racism.
We were
that too.
I'm black. I haven't stabbed anyone in the chest after being asked to leave a tent. I'm not in prison, I'm free. It's not hard to not commit a crime. Listen, I appreciate the sentiment here, but how did we get to a point where this is like a breath of fresh air?
How did we get to this point? But at least this guy is self-aware enough to realize that simply not being a criminal is a great way to stay out of jail.
Let's check the replies. Hopefully people are agreeing. Shut your hoe ass up. Emmett Till didn't commit a crime either. What happened to him?
Yes. Emmett Till, wasn't that the guy who got lynched in the 50s when Jim Crow was still a thing before the Civil Rights Act? When white people, when white neighbors literally just of their own volition went and lynched him. Like, and again, the courts at the time were corrupt and blah, blah, blah. We could get into the argument on why they weren't charged, to my understanding. They weren't convicted, to my understanding. But, and again, that goes back to Jim Crow laws in the South versus present day, where we have civil rights protections, much more stringent civil rights protections that guarantee that if that kind of thing happens, there is going to be a court that will actually try the individuals guilty.
You're not black. You're not black. You're a boy. You ain't black. You may be black, but you ain't black. Yes, because being black.
Wait, hold up.
You ain't black.
Yep, the capital B versus a lowercase b. Let's go.
You may be black, but you ain't black. Yes, because being black is supporting all black people everywhere, regardless of what they have done. All the normal
exactly.
It's called like pick-me's. They're called pick-me's for having a brain and not going along with this race grievance bullshit.
They're called race traders for, having intelligence.
Every time like they speak out about this, they're just called the C word, you know what I mean?
The C word.
For this animal. Is that a slur?
When that's a slur now, because when simply the shorthand for an animal is a slur now.
I know
Jesus.
what that's like to a degree. Granted, it's over me making fun of like women on TikTok, but like I know what it's like watching people in your community act like fucking morons. I
Right.
feel you.
Yes, our community of millions upon millions of people. It's such a close, tight-knit community. I know every 5 million person's name. You know, it's like, dude, communities are culture. Communities are personal. Communities are I know you. Race is not a community. Sexuality is not a community. There are too many people of that community for them to know personally, to have an intimate cultural connection. You know, a shared cultural connection, a shared personal growth, a shared all of the things that actually make a community a community.
My brothers. Oh my god. Editor. Edit that out. Edit that out.
I mean, I use it for convenience sake because I 99% of the time can't think of a better word better phraseology to say over it. But yeah.
By the way, if you want an uncensored, uncucked version of this video and all the videos a day early, sign up to be a member on my Patreon. Link down below. All Patreon members get the uncensored, uncucked version. You can hear me say fucking shit and anyway, let's get back to the video.
All right, let's hear it.
This is a racist ass country. We're in a racist ass state.
Next order, okay.
Ain't nothing else to talk about.
First of all, I forgot what I was gonna say.
I forgot what I was going to say half the time and watching this too.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I was staring at her titties the whole time. Those are giant titties. Just left the courthouse, and any white person can get it for real. I don't give a fuck. Fuck it. Dig Austin Metcalf up and stab his ass again. Apparently, a bunch of people on TikTok are doing the Austin Bop, where they dance to a song made about Austin Metcalf's murder while reenacting the stabbing. Austin Bop, knife had blood on the tip when he dropped. How the fuck you gonna stop me? Going out back Marlo at the box. They were also making AI photos of themselves pissing on Austin's grave. You know,
Hold on.
They were also making
Element influenced by Sam. Okay. Why not just do it then?
AI photos of themselves pissing on Austin's grave. You know, I was always told not to judge people by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And boy, am I judging these people by the content of their character. What the f***? These people are freaks. Martin Luther King Jr. would be rolling in his grave looking at all this. Carmelo Anthony, a black teenager, has been sentenced to 35 years in prison.
A black teenager, and when they mean teenager, they mean minor instead of what he really is, a teenager who is also an adult.
After being convicted by a jury with no black jurors. Oh god, here we go again. No black jurors. Who is this moron? Who is
Also, where's like this whole minority unity thing? Because there were minorities on the jury apparently. Like, there are several instances of them referencing it. I'd have to look up official channels to see what the juror makeup was. But if it is to be believed, there were minorities on this jury that did agree in that Carmelo Anthony was in fact guilty.
This idiot? Oh, Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter. Wonderful, awesome. I'm done. It's been a good 12 years, but I'm done. Channel's done. Video's over. This officially broke.
Dude, has it really been 12 years? Was she 20? I thought she was 2016.
Me, I'm done. Go watch Moist Critical. Go watch Asmongold. I'm done.
And right off the bat, man, free Carmelo. Straight up. I don't give a fuck about no white lies. Fuck that cracker. We smoking on that Austin Pat.
Listen, I don't care about actual justice as long as my racial biases can be confirmed.
I don't care anymore because it ain't no good in this shit. It ain't nothing good that's in this shit. But they trying to lay the law down. All that shit. Y'all gotta give it up. Y'all gotta give it up.
Like, I don't care anymore.
What?
Because it ain't no good in that shit. It ain't nothing good that's in this shit. But they try to lay the law down up that shit. Y'all gotta give it up. Y'all gotta give it up.
Don't know what the fuck that
Beautifully
means,
said.
but
Thank you, sir.
There isn't
All
a black
right.
American on earth that is surprised by what just happened to Carmelo Anthony. Not
No one should be surprised because he offed a gay. He offed another guy. Why should anyone be surprised?
one black face in that jury box, not one peer, not one person who has ever navigated.
Peer doesn't mean racial. Peer means someone who lives alongside you. There were peers in that jury. There were minority peers. There were fellow minorities, as you may call them. But because they didn't vote in line with you, they are not your fellow minorities. They are not your fellow peers, because minority is simply a catch-all for someone you can use, someone you can manipulate. And that's all they are to you.
Navigated this country in melanated skin. And if you think that doesn't matter, then you haven't been paying attention to the last 400 years of American history, because you don't want to.
How about the last 1,000 years of Islamic history, where there were white people of unwilling servitude? Again, I don't know TOS, so I'm not sure with the TOS, hypocrisies yet, because I haven't been banned yet. But yeah, how about minorities committing these inhumane acts in other countries where they're the majority? Also, as far as the world goes, Asians are the majority. So, like, how about Asians doing these, committing certain inhumane acts against other races?
This is not new. This is the system working exactly as it was designed.
First of all, the Black Panther LARP is cringe. It's gotta go. This isn't the 1960s. You aren't protesting segregation. You're making a fucking TikTok video, okay? Second of all, this is the system working exactly how it was designed. Yeah, I'd hope. When you kill someone, you...
Yeah, exactly. You know what wasn't when the system wasn't working as designed under Jim Crow laws, because the Jim Crow laws blatantly ignored the system. So it's like, that wasn't how the system was designed. But when you what's your point? That when the system works as it's designed, it's actually fair, and that's somehow unfair?
Go to jail. Like, am I missing something? It was actually a refreshing change that the system was working for once. I'm tired of waking up to headlines like, man who raped corpse on subway gets 5 years in jail. Like,
Deport immediately. Please deport that man. That man is actually, that's supposed to be Mexican or something. Like, is this supposed to be Latino? Because if so, I know darker skinned Latinos. So my point being, dude, man, dude, if Trump saw half my family tree, he would be shaking with racist fury.
I'm not kidding. That was like a real headline I saw the other day.
I'm gonna say it since nobody else can say it. Austin. Glad your ass dead. Austin, fuck his family, and I hope they get this message to have a up day in here, Austin. I hope you over there burning up, bitch.
I'm so proud of y'all for kicking that
Right,
white boy.
please have a National Whipping White
See, they not used
Day.
to this happening to them, y'all. My only problem is it should happen more. Can we please pick a day where we just f***ing white people up? Matter of fact, I wish I knew where the little white boy grave was so I can go spit on that bitch.
How the f*** are any of these videos still up? There were so many of these videos. Are these people like CIA psyops? I'm doing it again.
You're falling into the trap.
This got so bad that people were actually going out and assaulting white people to get revenge. Obviously, I can't show these videos, but there were multiple.
There's a black Carmelo Anthony supporter on a bicycle riding around, attacking random white people, and then accusing them of being being on the jury. He's even recording himself doing it, and from what I've been told, he's threatening to attack more people as well. I was sent this video and can't verify who the person is or where exactly the video was recorded. Please share and spread the word so we can stop this psycho from hurting, killing people.
Multiple
Or someone.
instances of this. These people live in a delusional alternate reality, and they're becoming radicalized to
Yeah.
take revenge for shit that isn't even f***ing happening. But like
Exactly.
every other f***ing week, I have to read another stupid New York Times article about how like 20-year-old white boys are being radicalized into the alt-right because they watch Jordan Peterson or some shit. Like, fuck you. And like, people have been so brainwashed to believe that they're racist because they post like edgy memes. No, you're not f***ing racist with your 4chan memes. These people are racists. You're like a level
There's
1.
also a difference between being like passively racist, like, you know, posting racist speech and all, which again is abhorrent. Don't do that. But actually, please do that so I can out you. But there's a difference between that and actively like being a violent racist.
Maybe level 2 racists. These are like level 9 racists. You have no idea what racism is. I've seen your friend groups. Racist friend groups do not care what race you are as long as you are also racist. These people are significantly more racist than you will ever be. Hell, even the KKK, level 10 racists, wore hoods to conceal their identity. These people are out here posting this shit.
The KKK actually did have some degree of concern of being identified, even though the majority of their actions were in friendly areas. Even they were like, yeah, maybe we should cover our faces so that we can't get outed as racists.
Full government name and face.
I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more.
I deadass gotta look at my sweet innocent son one day and explain to him that people hate us simply because we were born black. What am I supposed to tell my son? I don't.
Yes, some people do in fact hate you for your skin color. That is nothing new. That is nothing that will ever go away unless we just start interbreeding between all the races all the time. However, which is impractical, but there's a difference between institutionally supported racism that a lot of people agree with versus some fringe lunatics that are the racists.
No, not to kill people? Like, okay, sorry. I don't know what it's like to be black, okay? I don't know, maybe it's a completely different experience that I will never understand. But in this case, nobody is hating Carmelo because he is black. They are hating Carmelo
because he is, in fact, a murderer.
Because he killed someone. I basically said this on Twitter and some liberal account was like, remember when Shoe was a leftist? Yes, the famous leftist policy, being pro-murder. I remember back when Shoe0nHead was pro-murder. Silly me, how could I fall so far? Leftism isn't about wealth inequality or workers' rights, no. It's about letting black people stab white people. Clearly. To be completely honest, I have seen what being a good leftist is to you people, and with all due respect, you fucking no thank you.
We also know now that yes, Carmelo Anthony may have had a tool in his backpack that no, he shouldn't have brought it.
A tool. Remember, it's only a weapon when we don't like it. When we don't like the person using it. It's only a weapon then. And that's the thing, tools and weapons to some degree are interchangeable because a tool can be made a weapon can be made a tool, yada yada. Like, for example, a kitchen knife, you know, a tool for using in the kitchen can be turned into a weapon for hurting someone. And vice versa. A violent weapon, like a mace, can be used for tool-related things, I guess. A war axe could be turned into a tree axe, maybe. You know? It's only a weapon when used maliciously and all that kind of thing. But here's the thing. In this case, it was a weapon because it was being used maliciously.
To a track meet. But it was there. It had a 3.5-inch blade. But also in that backpack, he had snacks. He had school puzzles. And he had a cross.
Your Honor, he had things that were not used as weapons. Therefore, he was not using a weapon.
Your Honor, yes, the defendant may have had a knife, but he also had Cool Ranch Doritos. I rest my case. Real lawyer, by the way. That woman is a real lawyer. There were.
Why doesn't the bar catch these people? Like, if that is a real lawyer, shouldn't the bar have been like, shouldn't like the bar exam, when she turned in the bar exam, someone be like, yeah, your bar score is like in hell. Like, we can't reasonably give you a law degree because you failed the bar so immensely with your moral standings. But yeah, that's a great argument. He may have had a weapon, but he also had snacks. It's like, well, you know what? He's innocent then.
Thousands and thousands of videos and tweets just like this. You probably get the point. These weren't just like cherry picked. They were everywhere. But it wasn't just Twitter nobodies and blue sky nobodies. There was also sitting Congress people saying this insane shit.
Black women live in fear and agony every single day. A fear and agony that I promise you, the Metcalfs probably never spent a day living that way.
Yes, they never had any agony thrust on them when their son was offed. They never had any fear when people berated them with hate simply because the assailant was being fairly investigated.
Yes, someone's teenage son was murdered, but please keep in mind the real victims here. Black women.
I don't know what he had.
Yeah, because obviously black men are still men and still masculine and so on and so forth. I don't know what he had. Did you not look up the case?
It was like it seemed like it was a multi-tool, almost like a Swiss Army.
Yes, the 3.5-inch Swiss Army knife. Even if it was a Swiss Army knife, it's still a knife with, and even if he didn't use the knife function, let's say he pulled out the fucking, bottle opener with a point that he could still stab with. It's still a weapon.
Like with the little scissors and everything and whatever.
Scissors, dangerous in the wrong, if you use improperly. What's your point? It's still a knife with sharp blades.
So it was small.
Your Honor, the knife my client used to kill the man was small. What? By the way, I've not seen a single Democrat politician come out and disavow this idiot. So until then, I'm just going to assume they all agree. What's funny is they can't come out.
Hold on.
The man was small. What? By the way, I've not seen a single Democrat politician come out and...
Did she just say Democrat politician like she's some freaking MAGA rightoid being like, yes, Democratic means nothing. It's like, is she just like, okay, Democrat politician instead of Democratic politician, which the Democrat thing is just as cringe as anything the lefties do.
Disavow this idiot. So until then, I'm just going to assume they all agree. What's funny is they can't come out and disavow it because they'll all be attacked and called racist, and they know it.
It's almost when you like foster an environment of these people, and even if you want to internally call it out, you basically trapped yourself into not being able to call it out.
It was a viral Substack written by a university professor. Are you ready for this? Dear Jeff Metcalf, your son is dead because you failed to teach him that black boys have boundaries. Yesterday evening, Jeff Metcalf...
Yes, black boys have boundaries. White boys have boundaries. Everyone has boundaries. But the force used is not indicative of the boundaries.
The father
you can't be like, okay, offing someone is reasonable because I have boundaries.
Austin Metcalf used his victim impact statement to address Carmelo Anthony directly after he was sentenced to 35 years after the court treated his act of survival as murder. The elder Metcalf...
Survival? The dude got shoved. Did he deserve to get shoved? Probably not. This was a disagreement gone into that went physical by Austin. I'll give him that. But at the end of the day, a shove does not warrant literal offing.
Reportedly described Austin as a boy, twin, son, leader, true warrior. He remembered him as a baby grabbing his finger. He talked about teaching him to fish, watching him take his first buck, and seeing him grow up too fast. He spoke of a scholarship created in Austin's memory, and said his family has been robbed. And right there,
yes,
own words, Jeff Metcalf told on himself. In your
Yes, his family has been robbed. Honestly, what was, I think, The Kite Runner, the book? Kite Runner, right? Which is about an Afghan dude, by the way. One of the lines was the guy's father telling him that theft is the most evil crime because theft is a universal crime. You know, whenever you commit a crime, you are in a way stealing. When you off a man, you off you possibly rob someone of a father, you rob someone of a son, you rob someone of a brother, so on and so forth. And you know, that I get that meaning. That's, I'm not going to say it like it resonated with me. Like, I'm not like, it gave me a new perspective on like deeper meanings and stuff. But I'm like, yeah, that makes sense actually, kind of, because it's yeah, you are robbed of something. Even when there is no physical thing of value being taken, some inanimate thing of value being taken, you are still robbed when a crime is committed.
own memorial language, you told us about the kind of white boyhood Austin was raised inside. It was a boyhood steeped in conquest language, hunting rituals, warrior fantasies.
Yes, because ancient tribal societies, regardless of skin color, did not have hunting rituals or warrior fantasies or masculine toughness and all in the such. No warrior culture ever, regardless of race, ever had that kind of ideology, ever.
Masculine toughness and the romance of force. You told us about a child praised for not just being kind, curious, gentle, or careful, but for becoming a leader and a warrior in a racist culture where those words too often mean dominance. This psycho saw a grieving father describe his son as a leader and a warrior and freak the fuck out because his son is white and therefore that's like white supremacy or some shit. In their world, white people are like only allowed to hate themselves, right? That's why libs are often the way that they are, just like absolute cucks, just like rolling over and showing their bellies. Haha, white people can't dance. Haha, white people, like, they don't season their food. Because being anything other than that gets you treated like this. Reminder that this is a professor in a college teaching students right now, and you wonder
and why. The college system is also pro-minority, strictly pro-minority with, so yeah, this person's probably not going to get called out or fired for this.
People are the way that they are. I swear we had it made in the 90s. I swear that was like peak normalcy. Do you feel that way? Maybe I'm just like
too young to remember the 90s.
Stupid millennial like nostalgia because I was a child back then and didn't know. I don't know. I kind of feel like,
I mean, like living kind of sort of vicariously through the 90s, like listening to music, watching the shows and all that. I'm like, yeah, what's presented to me looks cool, looks fun, looks more liberating, I guess, than what we have today. But at the same time, that's a romanticization, at least to some degree. I have no firsthand experience in the 90s. I can't reflect on the 90s myself. I can just go off of what other people say and what I see in media. So I don't really have any say in that, but from what I could tell, the 90s were cool. At the very least, going like in early 2000s, you know, midnight game release sounds like a fun time to be alive. You know, sitting there at midnight buying Halo 2 on release in, what was it, 2003, 2004? And, you know, going home and playing that the rest of the night. And then not going to school the next morning because you all-nighted the night away waiting for the game to release and then playing it. That sounds like it would have been amazing.
Race relations were better back then because it was all like, oh, we don't see color, and then they flipped it and they were like, actually, if you don't see color, you're racist. You have to
exactly
white privilege and you're a colonizer. Like, what the f? I feel like my worldview's just been shattered. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean we can't just all be in a circle and sing Kumbaya? What is this? Like, I was always taught from my parents, from my teachers, like, we shouldn't judge people on their skin color, blah 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 blah. And like, were these people just not taught that? Were they not taught that? I feel like they were just taught.
It's a hypocrisy.
White people bad, white people bad. Like, it was just hammered into their fucking heads. And like, honestly, like, white people get told that in like university. Like, they go to college and they get told white people bad, white people bad. It's really upsetting that a family had to bury their child, and it's all being overshadowed by insane people trying to make
exactly.
In a normal world, it wouldn't be about race, but we don't live in a normal world. I would like to believe a majority of people don't.
We just live in a world, and that's really the best we've got. That's the best we've ever had.
Believe in some like civil war, race war thing, and still believe in the kumbaya bullshit. Like, I just want to be like, okay, this is just a minority of crazy people on the internet. At least that's what I tell myself. So that was that video. Hopefully
that's what I want to tell myself.
Some enjoyment out of my brain breaking. If you like this video, please subscribe.
I think my brain broke too much to have any enjoyment. I don't think I understand the definition of enjoyment anymore after that brain bleed, after that intelligence loss, that everything else.
And if you can, donate to my Patreon, link down below. We have started doing Patreon only live streams. The last one was a lot of fun, so I would love to see you there at the next one. And I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye!
All right, let's go. I see something below. Let's see if she has anything else said. Don't say anything.
Yes, I may have murdered someone, but you're racist, and that's worse.
Ah, yes, that is much worse.